Good afternoon. So, why did I quit my full-time job to become a full-time Uber driver? The money, everything about it, having no boss, being able to work when I want, the money. I was working at a casino, 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 if they were like being, like, oh, somebody called off today, we need you in. I say no, and then they call 6 more times, begging me to come in and shit like that. But it was awful. I was working at a restaurant. It was a dine-in, but it wasn't a dine-in. It was like fast food. It wasn't fast food. So I would stand at the cashier for like 7 hours a day, just standing there. Sometimes an hour or two would go past and I'd have no customer, and it literally felt like torture. And once I got a car and I got set up for Uber and I realized, wow, I can do this, the decision was already made. I already quit in my mind, so I just had to do it. So I texted my boss at the time, and I said, this is torture. I said it just like that. I said, this is torture, just standing here all day, and I'm feeling really burnt out of this job, and really just not making them a lot. I was making $16 an hour, while every single one of my coworkers were making $17.10. And the reason that is because they accidentally made a mistake in the contract, is what they say, and they can't fix it because I already signed the contract, which has to be messed up or something. Yeah, so I texted him. I said, today, I gave him no notice. You don't have to give notice to a job because they won't give one to you. That's just how it is. Yeah, it's good to give notice because then you can go back if you want. I don't want to go back. I don't give a fuck about going back. So, I said, after tonight, it's my last shift. That's just how it is. He texted, he called back. I missed the call because I was not trying to answer that call. You know what I mean? I got anxiety. I'm not trying to answer that call. So I missed it. And then I mustered up the courage and I texted back. I said, I missed your call. If you want to call back, I'm available. He called back, Ken, when you come in tonight, can we please talk about it? Maybe find another solution if that's okay. I'm like, I'll give it a chance. We'll talk, see how it goes, and we'll go from there. So I went in for my shift, immediately went to go talk to him. He's talking about, we'll try to give you a raise. How does a raise sound? Stuff like that. Going from 16 to 17.10. And then he was talking about, how would you like to go part-time, because we know that we hear that you're burnt out, or like, can you give like 2 weeks notice if that's okay, because we are a little short-staffed, and can you just please go part-time? I said, part-time sounds absolutely lovely. I would love to work like 3 days a week. It would be perfect for me, because then I could Uber on those 3 days. So I would work on those 3 days. Following that shift, I would go Uber on those 3 days. So I will work 3 days a week, making double what I want. You know what I mean? It was perfect. So I was like, yeah, I'd love to switch to part-time. I'm really burnt out, so I can't last here much longer. So I really need to get this put in. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stay full-time for another month just so you can switch me. So I'm like, 2 weeks is what I can give at most. He's like, all right, we're gonna get that put through. 2 weeks pass. Me and the manager, the guy, are working at one of the pizza shops, because they switch you around a lot in the casino. We're working at the pizza shop in the fucking casino, and I'm spitting, you know what I mean? And I say, is there any update on this part-time stuff? And he says, we're trying, the position isn't open yet, but we're gonna, as soon as it opens, we're gonna get you through, and you gotta apply, and as soon as you apply, we're gonna skip the interview and you're just gonna get in. The position isn't open yet? That's the reason I stayed these 2 weeks, is to switch to part-time. You know what I mean? Like, if you tell me to wait and I wait and you don't have an update at all, I'm skedaddling. So that's when it was in my mind that, this isn't for me. I can't stay here And then I was making a lot of money Ubering. So, I said, everyone was telling me, don't quit your job. Because I have a thing where I quit a lot of jobs. I'm not a job hopper. I'm just a burnt outer, if that makes sense. Like, I stay at a job for a couple months and then I feel like it's torture. It's not a thing where, like, people are like, you have to find something you love. You know what I mean? Will I ever love anything? Is that my window? That's so cool. Will I love any job? Never. I will never love a job. So when people say find something you love, I love myself, but I can't make money off that. You know what I mean? So I start Ubering. No. I quit the job and I tell my partner, I say, I just quit my job today and I'm going to be Ubering full time. And they are so disappointed. They're like, oh my God, you quit your job again? Jesus Christ. But I'm like, what you're saying right now, yes, it matters, but I'm going to prove you so wrong. Because I know that Ubering right now is so right for me. So I quit my job. And my goal every day, I quit my job like a month ago. And I'm doing pretty well, I think. It wasn't a month? I don't know. It might have been like 2-3 weeks ago. I don't remember. Time's going by so fast. But my goal every day is $150 a day. $200 on Friday and Saturdays. Off Sundays, sometimes. It depends, like what I want. I try to work 6 days in a row, which you are probably like, whoa, 6 days in a row? I work like 5 hours a day, if that, when I want. Some days I'll go out from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., make $100 in 3 hours. I was making $100 a day at the casino in 8 hours. At the casino, I was making $450 a week with 40 hours. And they would give me overtime and I'd make $500 a week, which to some, that's enough to survive on. But I'm like, I have no money when I'm paying my bills, you know what I mean? Like, I have nothing for fun. So with I think it's 6 days with the money I'm making $1,100 a week, which, yeah, you're putting miles on your car. Miles are supposed to go on cars, bruh. These things aren't meant to last forever. So people are like, oh, well, you're supposed to make it last as long as you can. You die. Everyone dies in this world. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die with 200,000 miles on my car. The fuck? I'm going to die with as many, like, fun experiences and money as I can. You know what I mean? Like, people are so serious. Like, oh, Ken, like, stop driving so much because you're getting a lot of miles fast. I don't care. But yeah, 7 to 10, I can make like $100. If I don't, I'll just go back home. I'll chill. I'll eat some breakfast, eat some lunch, go back out for a few more hours, and boom, my goal is made that easily. I can go out when I want. I can come back when I want. I can do what I want when I want. It's that simple. Sometimes I just go out at like 10 p.m., sit around the bars, make like $100, go back home. It's that easy. I've been picking up my past coworkers from the casino on like 3 days a week, and it's like, boom, that's like guaranteed income because they go to work and come back every single day. So 3 days a week, that's guaranteed. But people are like concerned that, oh, you're not gonna make enough money, you're like not gonna stick to it, shit like that. But so far, I've been making over double of what I was making at the casino, and you don't hear anybody complaining now. You gotta prove them wrong. You gotta take that risk. You know what I mean? But that's why I quit my job. And I'm only 23, you know what I mean? I don't know what I want in life. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in a year from now. I don't know what I want, you know what I mean? So that's something I gotta just take a risk and find out what I want myself. Even if I don't want anything. Like, what if I don't want anything? What if I just want to live day by day? Then I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why I quit my job. That's why I'm Ubering full time, making double the money, work when I want. And let me tell you something. 40 hours a week, $450. If I worked 40 hours a week on Uber, I'd make over $1,100. You know what I mean? Like I'm choosing, this is like 1100 is 30 hours, like around 30 hours. 1130 hours. 450, 40 hours. No brainer. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why I quit my job, and that's why I'm going to stick to Ubering. I'm gonna record my experience, good or bad. You know what I mean? And I have stories to tell. I've had, you know, I kicked a passenger out the other night because she was so rude. But yeah, I'm gonna be documenting my experience, and you're here with me. So, see you in the future. Goodbye.